Hey there, so I wanted to expand on my last video on how to use books to target your child's speech and language skills. So that was primarily targeting our toddlers to early preschool population with some of those early developing to expanding a little bit some of their language skills. So I wanted to make a quick point about how to target vocabulary, and then I'll probably make a couple more on how to do some of those later developing language skills. So let's see, I pulled a couple books. I still would say, even if they're mid to late elementary, go ahead and pull some picture books, that's fine, just to keep them engaged, and you can still talk about what's going on in the pictures. We're talking about kiddos that have speech and language delays and disorders, so we want to keep them engaged. We don't want there to be too much going on as far as the comprehension piece. That's going to just make them lose interest completely. So what you're going to do as the parent or caregiver is take a book like this, it doesn't matter the book, any book really, and go through and write down the words that they might not necessarily know. So this book has a couple of them. I think one of them was bustled, or bustling. Another word was startled. So you're going to go through and write the words that they might not necessarily know. I will say maybe you can throw in a couple words that they do know, that they are able to define, just to kind of give that confidence booster. That's good to add that in as well. So you're making a list, and then as you go through, as they hear those words, you're going to say, oh, did you see one of our words on our list? Did you hear one? And they can go through and check them off as we went, and we can define them together. So before we start reading the book, we're going to talk about the cover, just get them thinking about what it could be about. We're looking at the pictures, we're reading the title, we're talking about what might this story be about. So I like these books. It doesn't have to be this one, but this one had some good vocabulary in it, so I just happened to pull it. But I really like this because this is a Shine a Light book. You can see that on the front. Feel free to Google that and see what you can find with these Shine a Light books, but they're super, super fun, even for my older kiddos. And also good for like predicting skills as well, but we're gonna talk about vocabulary with this. So, but as far as keeping them engaged, you've got a leaf right here, and then it says what is hiding behind the leaf. And when you take a flashlight, I usually use my phone because it's nice and flat, but when you take the flashlight, that black and white picture is projected through to this page, and it's really fun. So it keeps them engaged. So right here, like I said, we've made a list of words that they might not know, and so I'm gonna pick this word startled right here. So startled, what do you think startled means? Okay, not super sure. So startled, let's look and use the context clues of the pictures. That's why I pulled the picture book, so you can use what they're seeing with their eyes. If vocabulary and language is hard for them, right, we're going to be using the pictures to help them describe what that word can mean. So the butterflies, they were in the trees, they were nicely resting just fine, and then something came and startled them. So I'm using it in a different way in a sentence. Okay, startled. If they're not able to define it, that's okay. Let's read some of the words. We can talk about that a little more. And then I can say, like I just talked about, they were resting nicely in the trees, and then something came and startled them. Oh man, that made them kind of jump and maybe kind of got them scared. And then have them say that in their own words. What do you think startled means? You just modeled that for them, but that's okay, that's good. They're hearing it, and then you're asking them, what does it mean? And then they're saying it in their own words to ensure that they understood what you just said. So again, when we're working on some higher level skills, I like to kind of keep it simple as far as how many skills we're working on at a time, just because I don't want them to get overwhelmed with all of the questions that they're being asked about the vocabulary and about what's going on in the inferencing and predicting and all that stuff. So that is why I just wanted to talk about vocabulary specifically, using context clues, and even, the word startled, right? We're not sure what that means. We talked about what it means, so they're going to write down it means like scared or jumpy or something like that, something in their own words where they can define these words. So that's a good way to learn vocabulary with the books that you already have at home. If you have any questions, feel free to put them below.